You're just
Already?
not roboting, but the image is just terrible.
Oh, that's fine.
What is with us?
Nobody cares about that.
Oh no, wait a second. You're fully in focus. Never mind.
Oh.
It's just terrible.
Oh, that was
Yikes.
Got my Scoop Fest 2017 mug going here.
Oh, very nice.
One of
Oh,
my favorite mugs.
That's right. It's a good mug.
it's a good mug.
It's a good
Yeah.
mug.
It's just
Boy.
the right size. You get just the right amount of hot beverage.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of Scoop Fest,
Uh-huh.
next. Oh, actually, I should double check my calendar.
Oh.
Is it Saturday next week? Piff is coming to town,
Yeah.
and I'm Dana and I are going to be seeing him,
Yeah.
and of course,
Hill Bill's opening.
Hill Bill is opening for him.
Nice.
So it's going to be like kind of like my secondary Scoop Fest here in town.
I feel like it won't be exactly like that, but
Yeah.
I feel like Matt might have other things to do.
Well, he's going to be performing.
I know,
Was he
I'm
not
just saying.
performing at
Just
Scoop
a
Fest?
secondary Scoop Fest?
Yeah, you know.
Fair enough.
I get to see Piff perform. I get to see Matt perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sneak in my own cotton candy burrito.
Oh gosh.
So, you know,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna be nice.
There
It'll
we
be
go.
fun. I'm looking
There we
forward to it.
There
I
we
got to
go.
double check to see. I can't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday, so I may be bailing on you guys to go see Piff and Hill
Oh.
Bill,
That'll be great.
the Mind Noodler.
Greg will be just off his extra life stream, and Phil
Yeah.
won't be here. It'll be
Well, I don't.
fantastic time.
I gotta check.
Okay.
I gotta check.
Okay.
You know what? I suppose I could do that.
You do have a computer right there.
I do. I'm sitting at a computer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Piff is in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, he's here November 1st through the 3rd.
I can't believe we're wasting all this time
I
talking
can't
about
believe
this.
we are either.
Well, I don't know.
Honestly.
What else are we going to talk about? The
Honestly.
dumb old cowboys.
Yeah.
Dumb old.
People want to hear about cowboys.
Well, it's because
I want to be a cowboy.
and you can be my cowgirl. Because no one else is talking about cowboys this week.
No.
Thank goodness they're finally. Here, let me do some typing real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if someone's banging in your apartment, Zelda's biggest fan, you should probably. And it's not you.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Within your walls.
Okay,
The
All right.
banging is coming from inside the house.
We doing this thing?
what the,
I've been ready for 10 minutes.
Hello and welcome to episode 625 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, October 30th, 2018. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Yippee-ki-yay, get along, little doggies.
Yeah.
And all that Wild West
Great.
crap.
And joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Well, let me tell you, CJ, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
This
We're
is
gonna have some sarsaparilla.
I understand y'all are looking for
You know-
some cowboys. What's that, Gregory?
The leader, I mean, I know we'll talk about this later, but that's the voice. The
Yeah.
leader of the gang in Red Dead Redemption 2. Every
Yeah.
now and then his voice slips into that.
Really? I haven't gotten to
just
that point yet.
hear it. It's not as overwrought as that, but it's like when he gets really emotional,
Yeah.
that's the voice I hear.
Wait, you're talking
Oh.
about Dutch, right?
Dutch, yeah. You'll
Okay.
hear it. You'll hear it next time you play.
I have not heard that.
What in tarnation
not
are you?
That bad,
fellas
but you can just
doing?
hear his voice breaking to that level.
Oh,
There was an well, I forget the actor's name, but there was an old timey character actor who was in a lot of westerns who did that kind
Yeah.
of voice.
And then Disney used him in all kinds of animation too, right?
oh, probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's kind of the Ed Wynn syndrome.
Yeah.
Guy with a crazy voice ends up doing Disney cartoons.
Imagine that.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we are going to be talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 a little later.
Yeah.
But first, we should do some news.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
been news.
There's been news. Nerf.
This-
I did not expect this.
please note, everyone listening at home, this is the single piece of news CJ has written in the
That's true. I just looked and saw, yeah, that's true.
Single piece of
No.
news is that Nerf is doing Fortnite guns.
And let's face it, this is more suited towards the points
You
of
were not kidding when you said it was a slow news week.
Yeah, really.
Man,
First up, the cat down the street had kittens.
What? How many litter?
It was a litter.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
No runts.
how many are you adopting?
All of them. They're adorable.
Oh, well, you got like
Okay.
kitties.
So yeah, Nerf doing Fortnite guns. Get ready for that.
Wow.
Solid talk.
Kids.
When you put,
Ask your
and I
parents.
mean, I want to be on it. I want to be clear here that CJ is the only one who actually bothers to do this. So I
Right.
say this with all due respect. But when you put these news items on the list, do you do it with the thought like this will be a good discussion?
No.
Okay.
Not this week anyway.
Okay.
This is Ghost.
Yeah.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
boy.
Oh, boy.
So
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
I
CJ.
cannot hear a thing you're saying, CJ.
What?
I can't. I hear you're all muffled.
Yeah, you're a little muffled on my end too.
I'm not muffled.
You're like
You
like
got my internet
like
this
Phil from a week ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. So, have you played much Fortnite, CJ?
I've played a little bit of Fortnite, sure.
Fortnite, I've played like 2 Fortnite matches, and
I
did
played more than that, but not much more.
does Fortnite have kind of unique weaponry? Do they have sort of memorable?
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
guns?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So we're just getting those.
But
In-
in Nerf form.
Nerf. Well, I mean the yeah. So they'll shoot Nerf darts,
Or balls.
probably darts.
Or darts into
Probably
balls.
darts. Or
Ah.
darts and balls.
Darts in the balls.
Or maybe both. Maybe one gun will shoot both.
Everyone tuning in for the cowboy talk, and it's 3 morons talking about how Nerf guns work. So these guns shoot darts? Is that what you're telling me, CJ?
Thank God
Right.
the race is on right now.
Yikes.
Well, that's great. So there we go.
So that's all the news
That's the news.
this week. We should just get right into Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay. Well, let's let's
Get right into it.
you know what? Let's save that for a second. Let's talk about the other junk we've been playing because Red Dead's going to take up the bulk of it.
Well, you're
Mhm.
right. That's a good,
This is true.
good point, Phil.
Yeah.
Why don't
If
you
Phil
start?
wasn't so unreliable, I'd say he'd make a great host this week. But
Well, I've been playing. You guys, the Rockstar came out with this new cowboy game.
Wait a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. No. I was. I'll do this first. Finish Spider-Man. CJ.
nice.
CJ.
So,
Well, I'm just saying. It's 2 out of 3 thus far.
yeah.
So what'd you think of that ending?
That's pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, geez.
Half riot.
I don't want to spoiler it or anything because we're not doing our spoiler cast. But oh man, yeah, that at the end when Pete's like, "Oh, what do I do? I gotta do this or I do that. What do I do?" It's pretty good.
You know what? You just got uninvited from the spoiler cast.
Boom.
No, it
It's
was
only
very,
going to be 60 minutes, and we don't have time for those shenanigans.
it was very good. It was very good ending. I did enjoy it, and again, I don't want to spoil anything. We'll do that later, but
It was very good. It was. I was pretty much awestruck by it. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's really darn good, and yeah, the kind of Marvel Cinematic Universe style mid and post credit stingers, which is kind of a neat little touch.
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, that's a great game.
I was going to say one of the better Spider-Man movies ever released too.
Yeah, really. No, it's top notch. Really dug it. Certainly game of the year material for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's right. If not at the top of the list, pretty damn near the top of the list for me.
I'm in the same boat there. And
So got to get the DLC at some point soon.
I definitely do. I
Yeah.
definitely do. I'm a little concerned that Red Dead's gonna distract me too much. Actually, you know what I'm really concerned about, and I to the point where I'm almost wanting to kind of not play Red Dead at the moment and dive straight into the DLC. Is I'm worried that I'm gonna forget the mechanics of the game.
Ah,
I dive into Red Dead and then go, it's like, okay, it's been 2 months. I can swing
Can rope back into this.
into
yeah.
Get roped back into Spider-Man.
Yep. And I'll forget how the mechanics work, because that's what happened with the whichever Arkham game came out.
Mhm.
They had that the Harley Quinn DLC. Do you remember that?
I thought it was Catwoman.
Was it Catwoman?
Yeah, Arkham City had Catwoman DLC.
Okay. Yeah, because I played through Arkham City, enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And then took a break, played something else. The Catwoman DLC came out, and I picked it up and started to play it, and was just getting beat up.
Yeah.
I was like, I do not remember how to fight in this game.
Right.
And I put it down and never touched it again.
That's how I felt with the Breath of the Wild.
Oh, really?
See, where it's like I went back into it and I didn't remember how to play. Wait.
You move on to different games that have, sometimes similar
Weapons that don't explode after 3 swings.
Yeah.
Aw. You're right.
You've got a point. But so I may just pick up the Spidey DLC and play through that.
I might do the same.
Yeah.
I've lent Spidey to a friend. Hopefully he's almost done with it, and as soon as I get it back, I'll definitely be jumping into the Spider-Man stuff.
Did you spit into Brian Intahar's face at the same time when you cost him a sale?
Yes.
Ho, 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 ho.
Good. But no, I definitely want to try out that DLC. Man, it's a good game though. Jeez.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I was excited about it.
Yeah.
To begin with, but not really ready for how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I did not 100% it.
Me neither.
I still have some of the side mission task challenges or whatever to finish up. I just wanted to get the story done so I could.
Now I'm hearing that when you get the DLC,
that
and you go into the map, it actually doesn't show all that unfinished stuff from the main quest.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like, and actually, if I'm hearing this correctly, if I'm interpreting this correctly, you can't even access all of New York. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what? That that might be me completely talking out of my ass. I might have just
wouldn't be the first time.
Certainly. But yeah, it was nice though, because after you beat the game, it and the credits roll, it does dump you back into the city, so you can polish off whatever tasks you have finished, or you can start anew with your new game plus at this point. And
you can go back and redo some of the challenges if you don't feel like you got enough points and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah. So yeah, really good stuff. And yeah, to your earlier point, I will probably dive into the DLC sooner than later.
Yeah, me too.
Just because I love the game so much, I don't want to miss out on the DLC.
Yeah,
no,
it's
totally.
The reason that you said you don't want to forget the mechanics.
Right.
Yeah. Before you experience it.
But CJ, we joke. We poke a little fun at you for not.
Sometimes it hurts.
But man, seriously, you should. You know what? Even just ignore all the side crap
and just do the main line
and just plow through the story just to do the
story. It's so worth it.
Good. Yeah. I want to
do it. There's nothing stopping you.
You're right.
I love the way they handled Doc Ock.
Yes.
And that's not a spoiler, like when the first 10 minutes of the game you meet Otto Octavius.
Yeah.
So to say Doc Ock shows up at some point in the game is not a spoiler, I don't think. But I love the way they handled him. He's right up there on par with Alfred Molina, who
I would agree with that.
Alfred Molina, I would say is the best part of Spider-Man 2.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, and I thought they handled him really, really well in this. And actually, I'm coming straight off of. I just read through the Superior Spider-Man comic series, which came out a couple years ago.
Paul was talking about that when we were talking to him a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that's the series where Dr. Octopus, he's dying, and through comic book finaglings. Is that a word? Finaglings?
No, keep going.
It is now. He's able to
Perfectly cromulent.
swap bodies with Peter Parker. So Doc Ock is in Pete's body, and now he is Spider-Man, and he is dedicated himself to becoming Spider-Man. And it's a really good kind of character piece for Otto Octavius. So kind of having reading that at the same time as I'm playing through this game, they nicely complement each other.
Okay.
So yeah, it's good stuff, man. CJ, you should play that game.
Yep, I will.
You won't, but
I will, though.
CJ, how about this?
Though.
On this episode, you promise that by the end of the year, you will have played through the story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You got 2 months.
I promise.
2 months.
I promise.
2 months. You can do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, even if you just blow past all the side questy stuff, you can do it fairly quickly. You can do it. Believe in you, CJ. We have faith.
I'll do it. I swear.
Hey, you know what else I played this week? It's Friday. One of the best game to come out this past Friday.
Yeah.
Is, of course, the Castlevania collection.
Castlevania Requiem.
Yeah, is that that's the?
I believe that's the name of it.
Castlevania Requiem for PlayStation 4. The re-release of Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood.
Yeah.
Of course,
Which is, of course, the PC Engine CD game that never came here. Well, finally came here on PSP, but
and Virtual Console.
Right.
True. Yeah, yes. Wii Virtual Console and PSP. Well, because this apparently this game, this PS4 Castlevania Requiem, is a port of not the complete PSP game.
Yep.
But like the Symphony of the Night that was on that PSP game is the Symphony of the Night that's on PS4 now.
Right.
Yeah. So you're getting the PC Engine original Rondo of Blood. You're getting Symphony of the Night. It is, as I said, the PSP version of Symphony of the Night, which
including the new voices,
tragically has been retranslated and redubbed. So the classically bad intro from the PS1 original Symphony of the Night, the whole "What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets, but enough.
Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions."
I love it.
But enough talk, Greg.
You need a goblet to throw down there. Yeah.
Have at you.
Have at you. That none of that's in there.
No.
And it's all, like I said, it's all retranslated, it's all redubbed.
It all makes more sense. It's not
functionally better, quote unquote.
Whatever that means.
You know what it is? It's like for you anime nerds out there. It's like
you mean Japanimation?
Yes. It's like the original streamlined dub of Akira.
Ouch!
I love that.
Versus the new modern dub of Akira, which is technically more competent, technically better translated, technically better performed, but doesn't have the same amount of heart.
It's so deeply entrenched,
into
the collective fandom of the movie because everyone loved that movie, and that's just how you experienced it.
Exactly. You want cheapy Kaneda. Maybe when you're older, kid. You want that.
Exactly.
You want perhaps the same could be said of all religions. You want that. You don't want it sounding legit.
Hey, if you want to experience that again, I'm playing through the 360 remake.
Oh, nice.
On my Twitch stream for my last Halloween game of October. So,
excellent. When are you playing through that?
I started actually last week, so the archive will be on the YouTube channel for that. But this coming week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, be playing that. And if I don't finish it, I'll continue on the following week.
Nice.
Gosh, that game's good.
Oh, geez.
Man,
I haven't even touched Rondo yet. I'm just going through Symphony again. And man,
just so good.
how many times have we played through Symphony of the Night?
Oh, at least a dozen times.
Right? A lot of times.
Yeah.
But boy, it does not stop being good, does it?
No,
The graphics,
the music, the soundtrack is unreal.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
I was playing through it the other night, and my wife is in the room. She's doing some work or something, and she's not even really paying attention, but she's hearing the music, of course, and she's kind of like, why do I know this music? Why is this music really familiar to me? And I'm just like, because you probably sat and half paid attention to me playing through this game like
Mhm.
times before, and it's really damn good music, so it's gonna stick in your head. So atmospheric.
And that's the thing. It's so good that it stands out from other Castlevania music, and that's a series that generally has some of the best soundtracks in like the history of the medium, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, so I'm loving playing through Symphony again. I cannot wait to dive into Rondo of Blood because
Have you ever really played through that game?
oh yeah.
Oh, have you? Okay, see, I haven't. I owned it for years, and I just never really got around to playing through it.
Really, it's good. I mean, it's
Mm.
it's not the kind of Ega Vania style. It's not the Metroid inspired
Mhm.
backtrackiness. It's more kind of traditional side-scrolling platforming.
I think it's interesting to have actually to release these games as a set, and I realize it's. I'm not giving Konami extra credit here because I know this was just done because it was probably easy to do,
Oh yeah.
where it was on the PSP. But I think it's kind of interesting to have these games in a set, not only because, of course, Symphony is a direct sequel
Right.
to Rondo of Blood.
Mhm.
And the beginning of Symphony is literally the final scene of Rondo of Blood.
Yes.
But it's actually like at that pivot point for the series
Yeah.
where you've got what a lot of people would probably argue was the pinnacle of the original Castlevania style, like side-scrolling action game, and then the beginning of the Iga style of
Right.
Castlevania games, where then we had like what half a dozen or more of those types of games on the Game Boy Advance and the DS and the 3DS. So yeah, it's kind of right where that series turned, and it's just kind of neat to have that crossroads in one package.
Yeah, it's man, so good. And yeah, like I said, get into Rondo of Blood, try it out because
I will.
it is top notch Castlevania. Actually, I don't know if you saw this, Jeremy Parrish.
Heard of him?
You know Jeremy Parrish, right?
Yep. Yeah.
He just did for Waypoint. He did. He ranked all the Castlevania games.
And he was wrong.
Like, no. I mean, he did it. It's a solid list. I mean, he ranked all of them. Like the
Even the obscure ones.
the
Like-
pachinko game is on there.
Oh God.
The pachinko game is in last place, but it is on. So
Polygon. It was for Polygon, Blair
Oh,
Fells.
Polygon? Okay. But yeah, he ranked them. Pretty solid list. He put Super Castlevania 4 a bit lower than I would have.
It's that I always find that game interesting because the very first time I ever played Super Castlevania 4, I did not like it at all. It took me like a year. I came back to it after a year and then completely fell in love with it. Now kind of was one of my favorite Castlevania games. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's a very solid list. Jeremy, very much a smart guy, knows his stuff. He defends his positioning of all the stuff really well. So I may not agree with every single number, but it's still a really good list. But his top 3, not to spoil it for you, go read the article because it's a good read. But Rondo's his number 1 game.
Fair.
I believe Aria of Sorrow is his second one. One of the GBA ones. And great game. Really great game. And Symphony's number 3.
That's solid.
So it's a solid top 3, certainly. Yeah. But yeah, Rondo's so good. Rondo's so good. Like I said, it's traditional style, but it's top notch.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and play it.
Yeah. But that's really all I've been playing aside from the cowboy game, of course.
Yes.
How about you, Gregory?
Well, like I said, on my Twitch channel, I've been playing spooky games for Halloween, and of course, the first one I chose, which took me longer to play through than I wanted to because of all the travel I've been doing this month, but was Luigi's Mansion. It's funny. I actually chose a couple of games that ended up being re-released this month as well.
Yeah.
So I played through the GameCube version of Luigi's Mansion, and you want to talk about another great game that you probably haven't played in far too long.
So
Right.
good.
So much charm. Oh my God. And
Yeah.
again, I hope a lot of people have experienced it this month, but if you haven't, please go buy the DS game, the 3DS game, because
Right.
3DS game, yeah.
it's just the game is so charming, and it was really where I feel where they finally gave Luigi his own personality.
Yeah.
Where he's just this lovable scaredy cat, right? Who's going into this whole situation, and I was again, it's something that I've mentioned before, but I always love playing these older games on my channel because generally the crowd that I'm playing with, some of them have experienced them, but a lot of them haven't.
Right.
So while I'm getting to sort of relive my experience with them, I'm seeing reactions from people who didn't know anything about these games. And like with Luigi's Mansion, one of the things that always comes up, and one of the things that I didn't forget, but forgot how much I loved, was how when he's in a dark room, he's humming the tune.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's an overarching theme music that plays pretty much throughout the whole mansion.
Right.
And when he's in a dark room, which means that you haven't cleared it of ghosts yet, he hums it, and it's freaking adorable. Like,
Oh yeah.
his voice is quaking, and he's so scared, but he's still like, he can almost sound like he's trying to be brave. Like, they just gave him so much personality.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and of course the ghosts that are hiding, they're singing the tune as well, like in their little ghosty voices. And then of course when you clear an area, the lights come on and there's no danger, but he continues to do it. But now he's whistling it, like it's this jaunty, like whistle while you work kind of, still the same tune, but he's whistling it, and it's just so cute. And like I could almost see the people watching my stream falling in love with it for the same reasons that I did back when it first came out, and Shu underrated it in EGM.
It was like a 4 or 5 or something like that. It was
brutal.
I gave it like a 9 or a 9.5.
And the other thing,
pretty sure.
Didn't you get crap for it from everyone?
I did get crap for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, CJ is usually wrong on those games. I mean, he liked Donkey Kong 64.
Wow.
That is true.
Yeah.
But he was right in this case.
Yeah. Well, stop clock.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
He was
what it
right
is.
about
That's
this
what it
and
is.
Star Fox Adventures. Everything else was, not sure.
At the time, though, you have to admit, at the time, everybody wanted another Mario 64. That's what people wanted out of the GameCube launch, right? And for Nintendo to do something so different like this, and you're pointing out the things like Luigi's personality, and then he's humming the theme song and stuff like that. At the time, I don't think people cared about that stuff. They just wanted Mario 64. They didn't care about the touches, and care that was put into this crazy game with Luigi. Who cares about Luigi as a character?
Well, I think at the time too, you could almost say that was kind of a new thing for Nintendo, because Mario, I mean, he had some personality, but he was still pretty much like an empty vessel most of the time, right? Like Mario 64, he would, he had the great voice, but not really much else. Like, but you were seeing on the GameCube, I felt like they were really starting to give all their characters much more personality. Like you look at something like Paper Mario, they started touching on that with the N64, but when you got to the GameCube version with Thousand Year Door, like that game was also just extremely charming.
Sure.
Right. So, and then like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, they just went way over the top, and it was wonderful. But anyway, so I played through that, and it's only like a 6 or 7 hour play. So it's really easy to get through.
Short.
Mm-hmm.
And then this week also I played through Home, which was Ben Rivers' first game.
Yeah. I need, you know what? I feel terrible because Ben Rivers,
all around classy guy,
at Benjamin Rivers on the Twitters.
Mm-hmm.
Super nice guy. I have not played his game yet.
You should play both of his games, actually.
Alone with You, is that his other one?
That's the other one.
Yeah, because I certainly I know I have Home on PS4, and I just need to sit down and play it. I don't know if I bought Alone with You yet, but yeah, I need to.
Highly recommended.
I really need to sit down and play that game because I love the look of it. So
I had played Alone with You back when it came out, because it happened to come out, I think it came out on Vita.
Okay.
Yep.
When it was still a thing, and right around the time I was traveling somewhere, so it's like, oh great, I'll download this. And his games are very easy to play. They're much more to be experienced than to be a challenge. Although it really, I think especially playing this one as his first game, there were a lot of little elements and side quest bits that you didn't have to interact with, but you could, and it would affect the story.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool. And then the thing that was really great about this was it's only about an hour and a half to take you to play it, the whole thing.
Okay.
So it's very short.
I should really sit down and play it then.
You should. And the best thing about this was that, of course, Ben is one of the people who comes and hangs out in my Twitch channel as well. Twitch.tv/Seward, by the way. I haven't said that yet. And he actually suggested, he came to me a couple weeks ago and said, listen, because he offered this much earlier this year just to say, like, I'd like to help you out somehow with Extra Life. Here's something I think we can do. So he had a couple of physical copies of the game, 2 for PS4 and 2 for Vita. And he said, how about this? You were doing Spooky Games in October. Dedicate a night to Home. I will hang out in the chat and chat with the viewers about the development of the game and any development stories I have about the game. And we'll do some trivia and we'll give away 4 signed copies.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
So it was awesome. And that's what he did all night. He sat there and he was making comments on what I was seeing in the game. I was giving away little sort of anecdotes about the development of the game and why certain decisions were made, which stuff I love and stuff I find generally fans like.
Right.
And gave away 4 copies. So thank you very much to Ben for that. But it was great. And I hope to do that again. He's got another game that he's working on. I'm not sure when it comes out, but hopefully we'll get to do that again soon.
And as someone who's spent an evening with you, Greg, I know how difficult that can be.
Yeah.
Good on Ben. Jeez.
So, like I said, all around good guy.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Indeed.
And that's all they've been playing outside of that cowboy game we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about that cowboy game now?
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I hear it's the rootinest, tootinest game of the year, and if you voluntarily don't play this, you're not a gamer.
One of the most gorgeous, seamless, rootinest, tootinest games ever made. And if you voluntarily miss out on it, you're either not a gamer or in a coma.
That's the other thing. Cowboy fans rejoice.
Oh, God. Well, that's how the review started.
It's got Woody-inducing graphics.
No. I wish it Woody-inducing graphics.
It's another classic game fanism.
Oh,
there's a snake in my boot.
Somebody pours in the water hole.
I love that one.
So going into it, how much had you watched any trailers? Had you watched any gameplay? Did you read any of the reviews?
Nothing.
Never do.
Because reviews came out the day before.
The reviews are kind of impossible to miss, even if you weren't looking for information. It was pretty hard not to hear that it's universally praised.
Universal praise.
Right.
Yeah. I got universal praise. Then when I loaded it up on Friday and started playing, I was surprised by how slowly this game starts off. For a game that got 10s across the board. I was like, this is the start.
CJ?
What?
Did the opening of that game leave you cold?
Oh, you mean because it starts in winter?
Because it's a snow. It's snow joke that game starts a little slow. You understand?
Well, in the winter, you do. You feel a little slower. Yeah.
Now you didn't flake out on the game there, did you?
No,
CJ.
No. What else? What else you got?
Go on like this for hours.
How long till you were having Fundra on the tundra?
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
Flew too close to the sun.
Not accepting that.
Didn't happen. Didn't happen.
No. But the good thing was I bought it digitally, so I preloaded it. It had been up for like a week.
Oh, so you didn't go through a 2-hour install process.
So I didn't have to do the 2-hour install.
He just had to let it download for the week. Like it actually took all week to download.
It didn't take all week to download.
Oh, okay.
It didn't.
Okay.
So yeah, 2-hour install.
Thumbs down. That hurts. Go ahead. Sorry.
2-hour install, huh?
Yes, that was the physical install. So when you buy the disc version, of course, the disc or the physical version comes on 2 discs, and you have to install the data disc,
and
then install the play disc, and it's approximately 2 hours.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's also a patch, but the patch started downloading immediately for me. So
same here, yeah.
It was already patched pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I was surprised. 10s across the board and such a slow start for really the first 2.5 hours of game. The game is just very, very slow.
Right.
And I heard a lot of people saying, oh, I guess Rockstar watched a lot of The Hateful Eight because it reminds me of that or whatever. And I was like, I've not seen the movie that this is referencing. And like, if I'm supposed to be excited that it's referencing
I don't feel like it's referencing it that closely. I mean, it's cowboys on a mountain in winter. That's kind of where the comparisons end.
Yeah.
The Hateful Eight that's literally what it's got in common. After that, it's nothing like this.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, once I got past the 2.5 hour intro, things started picking up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
when I could freely go around the map and do.
Did you guys play Red Dead Redemption?
I did, yeah.
And
we talked about it on this podcast.
I know, but I'm asking.
I'm pretty sure.
Think of the conversation, CJ.
Okay.
Did you finish it, or did you play a lot of it? Like what? I know you played it, but did you play it like I play things, where you played it for like an hour and then never touched it again? Or
I did not finish it, but I got a fair ways into Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't get a fair ways into Mexico, but I got to Mexico.
Okay. Did you not get to Mexico, Greg?
For the first one? Oh, I never played the first one.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
by the way, we're saying the first one, the first Red Dead Redemption. There was, of course, Red Dead Revolver before this. But
right. Which nobody played.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Is he wrong, though?
I'm not. No, but
yeah.
Just, ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it like this? Was it sort of really plotting and...
I don't remember that. I thought the beginning of the first one started off at least with some kind of event that was that really kicked things off. And this one, I don't feel had that same momentum at all.
Well, let me ask you guys this right now. How far are you guys into the game?
I have literally I stopped. Chapter 2 started.
Okay.
I shaved and I turned it off.
Okay. I'm into chapter 2.
I have not reached chapter 2 yet.
Okay.
Don't worry, Phil. It's only about 1,000 years away.
Okay. Well, you know what happened? So I purchased mine physically. So I went out to Best Buy, picked it up, came home, helped get Finn fed, put to bed and everything. And then it's like, ate some food and it's like, okay, let's pop in. Let's pop in Cowboy Bebop here and see what happens.
Sure.
So I put it in, and then of course, it's 10 o'clock. Please come back around midnight and we'll have your game ready for you.
I was really glad that I'd read about that because I did the same thing. I picked it up on Friday. I got home from work. I was like, okay, I'm not going to have a chance to play this until the kids are in bed. So I've got 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I know it's at least a 2-hour install. So
you started to go
now.
Smart idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it finishes installing around midnight or so. And I was just like, well, I don't want to really start it now because it is the middle of the night, but I'll play just a little bit. I'll get to kind of like a nice, I'll go through the intro,
right?
Get all the talky bits out of the way.
Boy, no, you won't.
No, you won't.
And then, so I started playing it, and I got to the part where you meet up with that guy and he leads you to that cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And you're hiding. And then
that's like the first real mission of the game.
The first real mission.
Yeah. And it triggers the shootout. And I did the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go in and explore the house and ransack the house.
Yep.
And I come outside of the little cabin. And the fella I'm there with, he's like, oh, go check out that barn. See what's in the barn. So I'm like, okay, you know what? This is a good stopping point.
Oh, geez.
This is a good stopping point. I'm going to turn this off. I'll come back, pick up tomorrow.
You have to redo the whole thing. Or was there even a save?
I picked it up the next day and realized the game does not autosave.
It does.
It does?
But I've read.
I mean, I played for like a solid hour.
The greatest autosave.
I played for like a solid hour or so, and it sure didn't autosave any point.
Now you have to redo all that?
Oh, so I did redo all that.
Oh, okay.
I played through the whole intro again.
See, thought you were what I thought you were going to say is that you fell asleep while you were playing.
No. I just
That's what I did.
I just I guess I fell victim to the autosave that autosaves like once every 6 hours maybe. I don't know, but I played a little past that. Got to a point where it let me let me save. No, I haven't even gotten that part yet.
Oh, okay.
I found the lady in the cabin, and took her back to our camp, and that's where I'm at right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm not far at all.
No, I'm still pretty. I mean, see, that doesn't count as very far.
No,
because I mean that's like what, an hour and a half of gameplay.
That might be half of what you do in the winter, maybe.
Okay, because I mean that was like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I.
So that's where you are.
The surface. That's where I am right now.
You've barely scratched the surface of the tutorial, my friend.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
Well, the tutorial stretches pretty far.
For about 4 hours.
Oh dear.
Even longer than that, really. As you start picking up missions in Chapter 2, there are more things that the game will teach you to do. The tutorial's not done when you're finished with Chapter 1 or even into Chapter 2. I hear that even later on in the game, like they do a lot of introducing you to new mechanics. Yeah.
You know what? I will say this about the game. Let's call it deliberate pacing aside.
Yeah. Deliberate pacing.
That's what's your main character's name? Arthur?
Yep.
Yeah.
Arthur. This is one thing that I'm immediately. I mean, I'm not trying to trash the game or anything.
Yeah.
Because I've obviously barely gotten into it, but Arthur just feels like kind of a non-entity to me at this point.
That's I've heard that complaint from a fair few places.
Yeah, actually. like the first game, you kind of get a feel for John Marston.
Yeah,
pretty quickly in that first game, and you start to like him real quickly in that first game. Yeah, Arthur. Like I said, I've spent like an hour and a half with him. He's a nothing character.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that continues into Chapter 2.
That's not good writing, right?
No, but I think what has happened is that they've spent the beginning part of the game really setting up the gang, and Dutch being the main character in the gang. But I think that's a weakness of the game's writing, that the main character that you play as is sort of a nothing throwaway character.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine,
extreme. But when you and I haven't gone and read a bunch of reviews or anything, but I've sort of sifted around a few of them, and when you realize that the entire game is based on that gang, you're really, I mean, you're playing one character, but you're really living the story of that gang.
Exactly.
So they take a long time to get you familiar with all the different characters, because there are a lot of characters in that
game. There are a lot of characters, and as you play into Chapter 2, like things will happen that other characters have done that now you have to like deal with.
Right.
Okay.
that you weren't there to witness.
Right.
So your character's personality does start coming out more in chapter 2. But yeah, as the starting of the game, it's like, what am I even here for?
Yeah.
One of the things I will say though, and they've tried hard to introduce you to all the characters, but this is one of my, I have a lot of pet peeves about this game, but one of my major ones is like the pacing is just and especially when you're someone who generally plays games at night,
right?
After, you know, I play after my kids are in bed, so I'm already a little bit tired anyway. It's just hard to it's so plodding, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that I kind of wish they hadn't done, but I get why they did, I guess, is that they've traded in extra lengthy sort of like Metal Gear Solid length cutscenes for long rides where we talk.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Long, slow rides where we talk. And I mean, I get it
too.
Okay, I get it too, because the environment is beautiful. But when you get like the whole gang together, like there's a part later that Phil, you haven't gotten to. There's a couple times where you go it as sort of the gang, like the men do.
Right.
And they're having these big conversations.
In the Old West, they refer to it as a posse.
Well, there you go. They're having all these conversations. And honestly, outside of Dutch, I don't know who the hell's talking half the time. They all sound way too similar.
Is it Bill? Is it Micah? Is it Jose?
Yeah. Right. Hosea. Not Jose.
Hosea.
Yeah. Right. Like it's just they're all the gravelly sort of Yeah, grizzled old cowboy voices.
Well, here's the other thing it does,
or something, right? Like
in terms of talking about pacing. Here's the other thing it does that's sort of another pet peeve of mine is the thing in games where it makes you go a certain speed. Like you know you have a run button, right? Guess what? You're in this part where you can't at all use it.
Yeah.
Because we've got to do some exposition here. Like you can't run past this. And then it does the thing in Rockstar games. So I am the person that doesn't play GTA. I played Red Dead Redemption and Bully a little bit, and it does that thing where you have to tap the button to run.
Yep.
Or hold down the button to keep pace with whoever you are. And I find that is such a last generation type of thing. Like it does not feel like the control in this game feels very much early Xbox 360. And I can't get around it. It's like,
well, we have analog control, so it makes perfect sense to have to repeatedly, track and field a button to run.
Well, I see the thing is though that they've replaced cinemas with the long, slow rides, so you've got to have a button that controls how fast you can go. Because if it was entirely analog control in those situations, you just overshoot them constantly.
Right.
That's something that I think in general, because I want to take that a step further. Rockstar hasn't changed the controls of their open world games, at least not in a major way, in forever.
15 years.
Yeah, and it feels clunky and old. Further to that, dear God, somebody needs to update their UI system.
Yes.
The map and nestling everything in the far corners. It wasn't as bad back on like Grand Theft Auto 3 when we were all playing on 4:3 screens and the resolution was much lower. Resolution I think was 720p at best back then. Now we're playing on large screens with a much higher resolution. You've got these tiny little bits of information popping up in the far corners of the screen. It's like, I don't even know that it's happening half the time.
And also they're in a terrible color scheme.
And it's just
off-white.
God, it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. It does have cinematic camera mode, though. I don't know if you've done this where
I've seen that.
So you hit a waypoint, and if you're riding a horse, you get up to a gallop, and then on the PS4 anyway, you press in the touchpad button. You have to hold it for several seconds, and then it goes into this cinematic mode.
Every single button in the game needs to be held for several seconds to do anything.
I know. Well, after that point, it'll just go on the waypoint direction until it gets to the end of it. and there's no other way to do that in the game. Like you have to steer.
So, okay,
if you're
that's a fast travel thing then.
It's not a fast travel thing. No, it's just like turn on cinematic camera and we'll do the steering for you.
That's still better than what's there.
It is still better. Yeah, I suppose you're right. I don't know if you saw this, but I posted it on Twitter. There was a moment where I got off my horse because the guy said that guy appeared to be having trouble with his horse, like putting a horseshoe on. And I said, "Hey, what seems to be the trouble?" And he said, "Oh, I'm having problems with my horse." I said, "Oh, I'll help you." And then the guy gets kicked in the head by his horse.
Jesus.
Anyway, I thought this was a pretty interesting moment, so I clipped it and posted it on Twitter. And then I did a search for the hashtag RDR2.
Yeah.
And saw that exact same clip like a dozen times.
Oh, really?
Like it wasn't an emergent thing that happened. It's a scripted event that you run into this guy.
Oh, that's
the horse kicks him in the head. And yeah, I was remembering, I forget what game it was. Maybe was it The Witcher? The Seabake posted a video of that was so funny. Like there was shit happening behind him during a cinematic that was so hilarious. But I thought it was a moment like that where, like, oh, this emergent thing is happening. Like,
right, one of the systems did something that you weren't expecting.
Who knew that the horse was going to kick this guy in the head? But no, it was entirely scripted. The timing is exactly the same in all these clips. Yeah, and I was very disappointed in the game. I was like, oh man, this is super cool. And oh man, scripted.
So I will say that I'm worried about sticking with this game. I've played to chapter 2.
Yeah,
let
me ask you a question.
Let me ask you a question.
I'll ask you a question. Did you get to the part where you go drinking in the bar?
No, I have not left the camp yet.
That is a shame. There is a scene in chapter 2, and I posted a screenshot of it the other night, where you go drinking with a fellow gang member, and it is one of the funniest scenes I've seen in a video game. One of the funniest setups. Just the whole thing is really interesting. But of course it's scripted, and none of it feels like organic, really. But it's a very interesting thing that they do. You'll just have to see it. It's worth playing at least up to that point. Don't drop it until you play up to that at least.
No, I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to drop it right away because, I mean, and disclosure here, Patreon funds bought this game for us. We all wanted to be able to talk about it on the show. So
right.
So, I'm definitely not going to stop playing it after
one chapter,
the 500 hours it took to get out of the tutorial. But it's a slog. It's a slog. It moves. And at first I also thought that, maybe everyone moves so slowly and everything, like they feel like they're in molasses almost. Like maybe it's because if they're walking through deep snow, that's kind of cool. That makes sense,
Yeah.
Then you get out of the snowy mountains in chapter 2, and it's like, no, that's just the way they move.
Yeah.
It's so much about this game screams last gen or even the generation before that, where just you can tell they haven't updated a lot of things. But to me, the bigger concern that I have, and I don't know how big an issue it's going to be in this game. There are so many systems to keep track of in this, and
there are,
it's basically there's a major survival elements in this game, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, at least yes, there's stamina, health, and something else, and then you also have to deal with stamina and health for your horse.
Yeah, and you have to deal with the bond between you and your horse, and
you don't really have to deal. Well, you don't have to deal with that much.
I don't know how bad it's going to be. I'm just saying, like, it's got me concerned that so much of this is how, like, you have to raise your core and raise your stamina and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, I just kind of want to go do like kind of what we were just talking about with Spider-Man earlier in the show.
Yeah.
If I want to, I'd like to just do the story. I don't care about this, but it feels like that's what the point of this game is, to the point that even little things like, spoiler alert, Phil, sorry.
Yeah.
You're going to go for this soon, where,
Doc Ock shows up.
Yeah, there's a train robbery. Of course, there's going to be a train robbery.
Oh, great! Thanks.
And part of the plan is to blow the track right before the
Okay.
train gets there using dynamite. So
Classic.
Very
They send-
sexy.
they send somebody. Yeah. So the guy's down there blowing the track.
Yes.
But no, they send one of the gang members ahead to set the dynamite and set the charge and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
And then, it's a great scene. It's a great looking scene at first because you all come over a rise and you're on a plateau and the rest of 5 of you are there. And they're sitting there making their plans about like who's going to take this car and that car and everything. It's great. Perfect. And you're on this plateau overlooking the guy setting the charge. And then for some unknown reason,
knows? Yeah.
Dutch tells you, go help him set the charge. Okay. So, and everything moves at about a quarter of a centimeter an hour. So you sort of trot down on your horse to the guy, and the guy says, yeah, everything's going fine. If you want, you can run this wire over to the detonator behind that rock, which is about 10 feet away.
Okay.
So you get off your horse, pick up the wire, drag it over the detonator, which takes about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And he automatically attaches. No, you press a button to attach it, and now you're done. And now you have to go back up to the plateau. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, to me, this is one of my problems with this. Why did I even have to do that?
Yeah.
Like, why? It's just this weird padding. Let's kill the momentum we've got, and send you on literally the stupidest fetch quest in the world.
Well, Greg, it's not a movie; it's a game. You got to have some interactive elements. Come on.
Oh God, it's just. The train robbery was fun though. I mean, it was still they managed to make it feel really slow, but it was still fun.
They did. I did the thing where I didn't keep up with the guy who was
went ahead.
What?
And he went ahead of you.
He went ahead of me, yeah, and then got shot.
Yep.
I was spending time looting bodies of their 14 cents, and and then
it is
$18.99
back in the day.
That's like $20. Yeah. Then I get up to there, and my partner got shot in the head, so failed. Had to do the whole thing again.
But see, again, like that's another thing that kind of irritates me. It's like they're telling you to move forward, okay, but the way they force it is that if you don't move forward fast enough, your partner will, and he's just going to die.
And he's just
like this weird escort. All of a sudden, becomes this weird escort mission. I was like, ugh. I don't know. For everything I liked in that, there's like 4 things I didn't like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, I like the game. I think it falls into that category of old style open world games where I'm not sure what I want to do next.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about Spider-Man, and Spider-Man like highlights the next story mission, right?
Right.
Red Dead does not. So is talking to Dutch at the camp gonna like advance the story? I don't know.
Right.
It's funny. I checked on the PlayStation trophies. There's a trophy for contributing $250 to the camp fund, basically.
Yep. Oh,
and only 15% of players have done it. And when I did it on Friday or Saturday, I guess it was Saturday, it was lower than that. It was like 9% of players had done that. And it's like that is a pretty it's an early on thing that you would expect most people to do, and not many people had done it yet. So I don't know what that means either way, but
yeah, I think for me in general is like my biggest concern is it feels like the focus of this, and having not played the previous one, again, I don't know if this is something I should have expected, but it feels like the focus of this is to have you do sort of the minutia of everything.
Yes.
Even things like when you're going on a mission, like I went on a hunting mission at one point, and I forget which character it was, it giving me a bow. And anytime you have a bigger weapon, you actually store it on your horse, which looks really cool. Like I love it.
Absolutely.
It makes it interesting to look at. But again, you get off your horse, and it's like you have to remember to pick those weapons up.
Yeah.
And it's a small thing, but it's something that I can't count the amount of times I've already heard in like the 4 hours I've played. Don't forget that thing on the horse.
Exactly.
And it's like, I think it's to like a GTA game, and it's like, well, in a GTA game, I can carry a ridiculous arsenal around with me, and I'm okay with that. It's a video game, but with this game, it feels like realism is supposed to be king.
Yep.
And so little things like, oh yeah, I left my rifle on the horse. God damn it. Like,
or things like I'm tracking this animal. There's a little gauge that tells me how long I can track the animal
for no good reason, right?
That just means I have to press R3 and L3 at the same time again and start the counter over.
That counter exists for absolutely no reason.
No reason. Yeah, you're right.
Because it's not a finite resource in the least. Yeah. So Phil, it's like you go into Deadeye mode, which is both thumbsticks, and then you can see the tracks.
Wait, what? How do you do Deadeye mode?
Well, it's not Deadeye mode.
Oh, sorry.
Outside of combat, it's not Deadeye mode.
Right. Sorry. It's the same type
Eagle
of
Eye. It's called Eagle Eye.
Thank you. Okay. Eagle Eye mode. Like if you click both thumbsticks.
Ugh.
So, but it's not a big deal because it's not something you need to do sort of under duress. It's just something you can do.
Okay.
And it'll bring up this sort of different view. And if you're tracking an animal, you'll see this highlighted trail.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can tap R1 to focus
onto
on
it.
the trail. And then you can come out of the Eagle Eye mode and you can follow that trail. However, a counter starts going down underneath the UI for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. For how long you can.
Right. And when it stops and when it's depleted, there's no cooldown. You can just click Eagle Eye mode again, but you have to click Eagle Eye mode again and focus on it again for no good reason.
No apparent reason.
Just to give you something to do. Just
to make you do something.
The illusion of interactivity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how do you feel about the wanted level stuff?
I'm not far enough to know what that's about.
I guess you don't. Yeah, you don't really know.
Do you have to take your horse into a pay and spray or something?
Oh my god, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
No, but you do have to.
Dappled.
God, my horse is now bright purple with some blue neon.
You got some ground effects going.
Yeah.
You do have to go into a post office, or I think you can do it elsewhere too, and pay off the bounty that you've accrued.
Oh, okay.
But you can get a bounty even just by bumping into another character. Like,
really?
You can just bump into people and then that's assault and you're suddenly wanted.
Well, that's like was it Wombat from the CAGcast who posted this? Because the shoot button doubles as the interact button for everything.
That's correct. Which is so weird.
If you're not aiming at if you're not aiming directly at whatever it is you want to interact with, you'll shoot them.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
You will.
Was it him who posted? He was posting about this. Somebody posted this great story where it's like, like when it's like that feeling when you want to pet a dog, but it's the same. You accidentally shoot the dog, and then the entire mining town comes after you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're riding your horse and you accidentally like tap a stagecoach. Suddenly you're wanted because you did that.
Oops.
Yeah.
Well, the Old West was a notoriously polite place.
Yes.
Where
notoriously.
Where even
I mean, luckily it's easy enough to escape out of that. Like they send lawmen. They send lawmen out to your location and you just have to escape the red circle that has is formed around the minimap and you'll be fine. But I really wish you didn't have to tap the X button to run or to speed up your horse.
Like I said, I've been doing that since 2001.
I know, it just seems so old, and we've got games like Assassin's Creed and like Spider-Man and like open world games have advanced past that point.
Yes,
except in this, and except GTA or whatever. And I guess this is Rockstar's first big release since GTA 5, which was also on the last generation of consoles. Mm-hmm. So in a way, is it okay?
I feel like that's an excuse, but
yeah.
I think too, what's killing this for me, and Mike Phillips posted this on Twitter, and somebody else in our chat said this much earlier. Playing this directly after Spider-Man does not do this game any favors.
No,
because I get it, like the sort of vast open expanses are beautiful again, but same thing. Like I just did a carriage ride from the end of the first chapter to the beginning of the second chapter, and I don't know how it felt long. I don't know.
Nothing happens during it.
Yeah, it's this huge world, but there's literally nothing to do.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like it's just
well, and later on in the second chapter, you are sent off on a mission to find some old gunslingers. If you want, it's not, I think it's an optional thing. But anyway, you go out, and this was like the second thing that I did in the game, and the icon that I had to go to was like way out on the map. So I was like, okay, I'll do that, since that's a highlighted mission I should do.
Yeah,
and it took like a long time of riding to get there, and it was just like once I was there, I did something that took me like a minute to do, and then I had to ride all the way back to town.
And I feel like you look at something like Spider-Man, and I mean, even taking out the fact that you can move really quickly based on the fact that you're roping around Manhattan,
right?
But like, even take that out, it's a relatively small map.
Right.
But it's condensed, and there's tons of interesting things to see and do like every few steps.
But they also have
not the case here.
They also have the fast travel in Spider-Man as well.
They do, yes. Yeah.
There is apparently fast travel in this. And I will say, in some of the missions, some of the more important missions, you are given the option to like follow another character back to the camp or stay and do whatever. And if you choose the option to go back with the other character, it just fast travels you back to the camp.
Okay.
It's kind of nice.
That's good.
But for those optional missions where you rode out into the middle of nowhere to do one thing, yeah, you have to ride all the way back.
Oh, jeez.
So, not great.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, and I feel weird about it because I mean, it's not the first time I've disliked a game that has been universally praised, but I mean, this has just had so much praise heaped on it that I just, I don't know. I don't know. We talked, I guess this has happened before. I mean, Final Fantasy 13, this happened as well, where you were reading praise for it. It's like, but it, you got to play it for 12 hours before it gets good.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that's not the case with this.
Some of the stuff I've listened to about this game is the main story is 60 or 70 hours long. And I wonder, like, how much of that could have been cut out by cutting out some of that traveling through wilderness where there's nothing going on, or fixing the running and all that stuff. Like, how long would it be without some of that stuff?
It feels like, I mean, they go on about how this is a game that all of Rockstar Studios kind of came together as one large studio.
Yeah.
And it just feels, everything in the game feels excessive so far. And I've only played it for like 5 hours, but so far that's the feeling that I get from it. It's just like, we're going to have the biggest open world ever. And I don't even know what the acreage is of this open world, but it seems massive.
Right? It is.
And it's like, we're going to have, I think they say that it's literally the whole country, not as big as the whole country, but still massive.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's like that because they had the resources to do it, not because they had a good design reason to do it.
Right.
And it just kind of, and it's the same thing with all, it's like, make sure you raise your stamina core and make sure you go hunting all the time. And make sure
I've never had to do that stuff.
Hydrating. And I don't know, again, maybe it's not a big deal, but again, tons of little systems that don't feel like they need to be there.
Yeah, they do talk about that stuff a lot. And then when one of those icons is flashing red at the bottom and I have to find something to fix it with, I open up my pack and start looking through things. And they do this thing where as you're mousing over or using the controller to mouse over each of the things, it like emphasizes those icons if it's going to impact them, which is good. But then, like, if I'm looking for something that I need to feed my horse because my horse is out of stamina, I'm like, okay, where is that again? You have to go into the radial and then press like R2 twice
to go to the other radial.
Or it's not even a radial; it's just a menu. And like, it's just a lot of systems.
Yeah,
and a lot of systems that feel antiquated.
Yes,
like we've solved this problem in other games, and this is not solving any of those problems.
That's the thing. It's like, to me, I'm thinking something like a Spider-Man, right? Oh, Alexa's speaking to me. A Spider-Man, or say like, like Assassin's Creed, I'm told as well. You know, like we've solved a lot of these problems already.
Yeah, we have
in game design, and it feels like that stuff's there because we're the biggest, baddest studio out there. We created the open world game pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yep,
like we perfected it, which is all absolutely true. But then it just feels like it's all done to excess. And I'm playing it and I keep hearing how great the main story is. And all I can think of is like, wow, I would love for this to be as beautiful as this game is. I would love for this to be like a Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
Where, yes, give me a fantastic story with great writing, a lot of gunfighting, you know, and some horse riding and bank robbing or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But keep it tight, keep it focused, keep it linear. And I think I would like this way more than I'm liking it so far.
Well, let me ask you this: like during the gunfights that have been in the game so far, and I know we're early in the game, so it's hard to judge. But one of the things that I think Spider-Man does so well, even though I haven't finished it, is that the combat in the game, even if you're just mashing buttons, you feel like a badass. You really feel like you've mastered whatever the fighting controls. Like you can, even if you're just doing whatever, like it feels like the game knows what you want to do and does it. And this game, like, you know, invoking the Deadeye mode and shooting, like it feels just like the first Red Dead Redemption. Like it feels like they really haven't made any tweaks or fixes to that system whatsoever. It's like exactly the same combat system. Like what I'm saying then is the gunfighting doesn't really feel all that great.
Yeah, it feels
like you end a battle and you're like, oh, I guess it's over.
It feels old.
You're like, oh, there's a wave of enemy. Oh, there's more of them coming out of the trees. And you turn to the right and you do combat over there. Then the music stops and the gang's like, oh, we showed them.
Yeah, and now
go the end.
40 bodies that are sitting one at a time. By the way, holding the triangle button, not tapping.
Holding the triangle. Yeah, you loot them. Yeah, and as I was looting them, the gang was like, "What's the holdup? We gotta go." I'm like, "But I'm looting the stuff. I need again the 14 cents that is on each of these bodies."
Yeah,
that adds up, though. You know,
it does.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Once you have a big enough pile of bodies, yeah. How big was the?
Go get a sarsaparilla after looting a good couple dozen corpses.
Yeah. How big is the O'Driscoll gang exactly? That's another thing the game doesn't do very well is set up the supposed baddies very well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, right now, all you really got is sort of the specter of the O'Driscoll gang is all.
You have
really happened, and then just a bunch of nameless thugs plus that one guy that you've actually spoken to. But
right,
you know, I mean, sure, okay. And then there's also I don't want to say anything else because if Phil keeps playing, I don't want to ruin everything for you. That's going to happen.
I'm going to keep playing. Why are you thinking I'm not? What am I, CJ?
But I don't know. I mean,
hey, I've gotten 4.5 hours into this game.
Yeah, that's probably a solid stopping point for you.
It is. Back to Spider-Man I go.
Beating this unfed horse enough for tonight, but
and it isn't like I hate the game, by the way.
I'm not impressed by it.
I am having fun with it, but yeah, it does. It feels it feels like the first game. It feels like an open world game from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having played things like the Assassin's Creed series and Spider-Man and Sunset Overdrive before it.
But I am worried about the survival stuff. You're saying that's not a big deal, and I hope that's the case, because if anyone who listened last week heard me go on and on about Forza Horizon 4, the last thing I want is this open world game to be tugging at me every 5 seconds to fill some meter or feed my horse or...
Well, guess what? It does do that. It does. There's a little window in the upper left that I think it's the upper left. Anyway, gives you like 4 lines.
Wherever it is, you'll never see it the first 10 times it happens.
Yeah, here's what it does wrong. It's 4 lines of text. It's a ton of text in all white against a black background telling you what to do. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's a shame.
10 out of 10. I will say though, I do feel like we're going to get some interesting opinions on this game months from now.
Yes.
Once people have really let this game marinate, because I was watching the Game Informer show, and they talked about the review process for this game, and the reviewer for Game Informer mainlined the game, basically ran all the way through it in
I think they
60,
put
70
hours,
hours.
right? I'm guessing they didn't get this game until very late, and for a game this big.
Yeah, reviewers are put in that position, which definitely sucks.
Yep.
I mean, I know what that's like. And then, once you're done with the 70 hours, you forget how you started playing and how you felt when you started playing.
Yeah.
And I will say, even though I'm only a couple hours in and I thought the game started immensely slow, once I got into that bar scene that I'm talking about in chapter 2, I thought, oh, all right, like this is doing some interesting things. Like maybe this will pick up. So
well, I'm gonna keep at it. I hope I get there soon, because it's not doing much for me right now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Should we do some tweets?
We should do some.
Let's do it.
Tweedly diddly dee. A tweedly diddly dee. Tweet. A tweet. A tweet. A tweet.
All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Georgie Boy, who says,
"Hey there, Georgie boy, flying through the sky, so fancy free.
Not sure
We're
if this
about
was
to
asked
read
before
your
or not.
tweet. So,
Not sure if this was asked before or not, but with recent events rising with microtransactions in single-player games, I believe he's referring to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the $10 speed up XP boost you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
What are your guys' position on them? I personally don't have a problem with them if it's only for cosmetics, but boosts are toxic to me in any game."
Is there a question there?
What's our opinion on microtransactions in single player games? Cosmetics, boosts, etc.
You know what? I don't even have a problem with boosts in single player games. I'm assuming that means like experience boosts or something. Like, oh, you pay X dollars and you get twice the experience in your single player game.
Yeah, that's right.
Who cares? If it was a multiplayer game, that's no good, because then it turns into pay to win.
But I think what the debate or the discussion has been about is that in Assassin's Creed Odyssey specifically, it feels like, okay, you're going along the critical path of the game, and you get to a point where
first of all, shaking my head at critical path, but so the companies hamper the normal progression to sort of force your hand to buy.
There's a specific point in Assassin's Creed Odyssey where people feel like they're being hindered, whereas they're also being sold a $10 XP boost.
Greg is correct. That is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, but I think what Phil said is, because I generally agree with what Phil said. Me too. But I think the caveat is, if you feel like the game hasn't been hampered, like if you feel like you're not being artificially brought to a screeching halt, or if you feel like you gotta, because same thing with really DLC as well. As long as you feel like the game is robust, without it, it's a fair progression without it. I have no problem with that. Like if it goes back to the sort of playing the way you want to play, if you want to pay, to upgrade your character to the strongest character in the game and play it that way, by all means, have at it, right? But if it ends up being required, no,
right?
Unless it was free to, unless it was free. If you've got the game for free, that kind of throttling of progression doesn't bother me at all in free to play games, because hey, it's free,
right?
And if I choose to play it like that, or if I choose to buy something, whatever. But this whole pay me $90 here and then give me another 20 because I won't let you progress any further in a reasonable manner. No, forget that.
Yeah,
I will never touch that. I think I just decided I'm never playing the new Assassin's Creed then.
I wonder if Ubisoft has addressed that specific issue, because Yeah, I think there's a point in the story where the next story mission you need like 2 more levels to tackle it, and it feels like progression. It feels like XP is really hard to get at that point.
Yeah.
So,
Nope.
Yeah. Cosmetics in single player games, I'm not interested in at all. I've never bought a boost that I'm aware of anyway to go through a single player game. But I don't mind that they're there.
Yeah.
Like I think EA put them in Tiger Woods, wasn't that where you?
Yeah, I remember that was one of the early ones where you could unlock sort of you could max out stats.
And I'm kind of fine with that
too. Yeah,
because if you don't have enough time to unlock all that stuff yourself, then I have no problem with that. But anyway, let's do this one from Hacker Alias, Mike Phillips, who says, I loved the arcade discussion from last week, which is now 2 weeks ago. What are some of the more obscure arcade games you loved from yesteryear? For me, Omega Race in 1981 and Atari's APB 1987.
APB was a fun game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Stun Runner?
Yeah, I was when I saw this tweet from Mike, that was one of the first ones that popped in my head, although I'm not sure. Is that game?
I don't know. Have you played Stun Runner recently?
Well, no, of course not.
It's not that great.
Well, it
looks pretty.
Back in the day, though.
Back in the day, it was great.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Is that obscure enough?
I mean, I don't see a lot of people asking for a Stun Runner revival. So yeah,
I think the only system it came out, the only console it came out on was the Lynx.
Yeah.
It was on one of those Midway Classics collections.
You're right. It was.
Yeah, there was.
Was it? Okay. Okay.
It
Same
was,
one that had San Francisco Rush on it.
Oh yeah.
I think they were all racing games on that one.
Oh yeah, there was.
They didn't control very well.
Oh really?
Right.
Yeah, because they were all built with steering wheels in mind.
Oh yeah,
and they wanted you to control them with analog sticks.
Right.
Yes.
Stun Runner was a favorite back in the day for sure.
Yeah. I loved Kangaroo, which is kind of a mix of Popeye and Donkey Kong in one game. Love that game. Love Kangaroo.
Yep.
My arcade experience isn't extensive enough to have sort of a favorite obscure game,
Really?
Yeah. So I can't really think of a good answer for this.
I'd say Newman Athletics.
I figured that was the first thing you guys would say.
Yeah, no, that's certainly up there.
That's about as obscure as you get.
Yeah, the Namco track and field variant with crazy anime style events.
Yes.
I've talked about this on the show before too, but there was an old Atari game called Peter Packrat.
Yeah, I
that I loved back in the day. I played a lot of that at Showbiz Pizza Place. Again, kind of a Donkey Kong-ish platformer game where it's like a one-screen level and you're kind of climbing around, dodging enemies, jumping over platforms and stuff, trying to collect little pieces of garbage from a junkyard. Yeah, it's another old arcade game that you don't see mentioned too much. It's a Konami game, but Gyruss.
Really?
Gyruss back in the day?
Is good. Yeah.
I never played it in the arcade. I mean, I played it on, I think it came out on NES, didn't it?
It did.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gyruss, again, one of my favorite old arcade games back in the day. It's very much a Galaxian Galaga style, shoot the Space Invaders kind of thing. But the gimmick was that the aliens, when they flew into the screen, they would all converge in the center in kind of a circular
kind of
configuration,
similar to Tempest. I found.
Yeah, because your ship movement was
it's like the dial controls.
Yeah, you moved in a circle along the outer edge of the screen, shooting inward at the aliens.
Yeah.
And they would shoot out at you, of course, and you would it was a constant just sweeping around the outer rim, trying to blow up everyone, which was it was a really cool sort of twist on the Galaga Space Invaders formula.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, another one of my favorites back then.
Indeed.
So,
all right. Let's do this one from hacker alias Kennard Happy, who says, "What are your most frightening memories in video games?" For me, it was encountering Jason in NES Friday the 13th, Jaws in Jaws, also NES, and the Baron of Hell in the original Doom. How about yours?
The Resident Evil dog.
Yep. Really good answer.
The dog.
That's
and
really
the
good
liquor. The liquor.
You know
in
what?
That was
RE2.
more of a cinematic moment I found.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that I was kind of bummed out about with Resident Evil 2, which is an amazing game. I love Resident Evil 2. But that jump scare with the dog in the first Resident Evil was so unexpected and so effective.
Yeah.
That, that's was kind of what I was starting to associate with Resident Evil. And then Resident Evil comes along and they kind of lost those jump scares for more of a cinematic kind of presentation, which would telegraph the attack. Because if you remember the introduction of the liquor in Resident Evil,
full motion video.
Yeah, you walk into a room, you're like walking down a hallway, and then it cuts to a full motion video.
That's true.
Of this liquor scampering across the outside window.
But then afterwards, the scamper happens like in game when you're walking around.
Yeah, but then it's like, well, I'm expecting this though. There's this thing.
Still frightening.
There's this, but is it though? Because you know it's there.
CJ's just not having this.
You see it. They show it to you. They stop the game.
Still scared, Phil.
They stop the game and say, "Look, there's this creepy monster with a long tongue outside the window. Probably gonna have to face it at some point. Get ready." And sure enough, it eventually bursts in, and you gotta fight it. And it's like, well, okay, I knew that was coming. Because sure, I may have been walking through the hallway after that, all tensed up with my gun out, ready to shoot it. But when it showed up, it's just like, well, there it is. I'm not jumping out of my chair because holy crap, something just burst through the window. What the hell is it?
Yeah,
it's just like, well, there's that liquor that
one of the more frightening. Well, I think the first jump scare that I remember in games for me anyway was the reunion with the baby Metroid and Super Metroid.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
That made me literally jump out of my seat and drop my controller.
but it's not like, I mean, it's certainly startling. Yeah, but it's a heroic moment.
It is, yes, but
because you're being saved, you're being rescued by
initially, no. Not initially. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. You're right.
Yeah.
But still, it was frightening to see like a Metroid that size.
Of course. But yeah,
we're talking about the most frightening.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not trying to belittle your terror of the baby Metroid.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, although it was startling, certainly because you didn't expect it to happen.
Right.
It's not meant to be a horror thing. It's because after that initial shock of holy crap, giant Metroid, it turns into a holy crap, this giant Metroid is saving me. Yeah. So it's spoiler alert, the baby Metroid saves you.
Killing it.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll say for me, one of these is and I don't know if you guys ever played this. You ever play Enemy Zero?
Ages like back when it first came out. But I remember nothing of it. But yeah,
so it was basically Alien. It was done by Warp, Kenji Ino.
Right.
And it was their kind of follow up to D, although really nothing to do with it except it uses the same character, Laura.
Right.
But it's basically Alien. I mean, you're in hypersleep in this basically space tugboat, and you have this creature on board that escapes, and then you all wake up, and some few characters have been murdered and everything. But it was on the Saturn, and it was a first person. It wasn't a first person shooter. It was a first person sort of exploration thing. But the thing about the enemy was you couldn't see it.
Right.
You could only hear it. You can only hear actually you can only hear sort of the sonar pings.
Yeah.
To know if it was even close by, and it was frightening because you had to that was all you had to go on. Even the direction it was in, all you could go on was these single pings that would speed up as it got closer. And then when it got really close, you would hear a roar, and it freaked me the hell out. And I tried to play it recently.
Yeah.
It's still frightening because it happens that the creature moves so fast that you have like pretty much 1 or 2 chances to figure out where it is. And you either run or you die. Like,
wow.
So yeah, that was pretty, to me, it was pretty frightening, but I go with what you said, Phil. The first jump scare I really remember making me actually jump a little bit was the dogs crashing through the windows.
Yeah.
In Resident Evil.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool. Let's wrap up with this one since this is our last episode before Halloween. Hacker Alias JMill99 says, what was the best costume you ever wore for Halloween? And on the flip side, the worst.
Last year I went as fat, bald, middle-aged divorcee.
You know, you can take that costume off anytime you want, Greg, but
I wish. I don't do Halloween costumes.
Yeah, I don't either, really.
Me neither.
It feels
neither.
It feels weird being a grown-up on the internet who doesn't really care that much about Halloween, because that seems to be kind of the thing these days.
I don't change. Do you change your Twitter name to something scary?
No, I don't.
I don't either. I don't either, and I don't like October because that's when everybody. I can never tell who's talking because they've all changed their names.
What's crazy is like when I was a teenager, I was so into Halloween. Like I would decorate my room.
Not
the house,
really?
my room.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I've gotten into adulthood, I just don't care. My kids are into it, and that, you know, I'm into it because of that. Like, you know, I like to get them costumes and help them and everything, and take them to Halloween parties and stuff. But like once they're old enough to do all that on their own, I will not be taking part.
Now I did. We had our work Halloween party on Friday, where, you know, you can bring everyone brings their kids in, and they have, you know, they set up all these activities for the kids and stuff like that, and they can go around trick-or-treating at everyone's desks and things like that. So I did wear a costume, I guess. I dressed up as a character from the cartoon Gravity Falls.
Okay,
cool.
If you've seen Gravity Falls, I was Seuss.
Don't know who that is, but okay.
Seuss, he's the handyman who works at the Mystery Shack and it's kind of nice because Seuss has kind of my physique, you know, a little more pear-shaped than I used to be. And of course the you know, dressing up in a costume for Seuss meant putting on a t-shirt and wearing a hat.
Right. So there you
go. So it's easy. You know, the amount of effort beyond what I would normally wear involved wearing a baseball cap. So there you go. But I'm trying to think, even as a kid, I don't really remember stuff I dressed up as a kid. Like, I you know, like when I was really little, I remember my mom made like a kitty cat outfit for me.
Yep.
You know, you know, I think I was a you know, stereotypical jailbird prisoner one year with a stripy suit.
Yeah.
You know, a little plastic ball and chain from my leg.
I remember one year, this would have been the early 80s. It was when Superman was big.
Okay.
Movies.
Right.
I wore my Superman underoos.
Oh.
As my costume. So you remember the underoos, you kind of have to explain probably.
Yeah, because underoos, I mean, they were just like
they're just shirts and underwear.
Like jockey briefs, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So, but I think when you got them, they came with a shirt as well.
Yeah, it was like you got like the jockey briefs. You had like an undershirt.
Yeah, it was like a t-shirt. It had sleeves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But my costume was. I remember this. I don't know why. I was so proud of this. There was the shirt and I got some blue tights for my legs.
Right.
Put my underwear up over those.
Nice. That's Superman. That's Superman.
Yeah. Had the cape.
Yeah.
Cape. And then I went and got some red cardboard.
Oh.
and I cut out the shape of the tops of his boots. And then wrapped them around my leg and taped them up.
Nice.
Superman.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's good.
I loved that costume.
I did.
It would have been like 7, I think.
Right.
I did the Jason hockey mask thing and the Freddy thing because they sold like a really cool plastic glove that had the Freddy knives on it.
The Freddy glove.
Yeah, that was awesome, and not too much else like to dress up. You could like put makeup lines on your face or whatever, and it's good enough
to try and be Freddy.
To try and be Freddy, yeah,
right. Yeah. Freddy elaborate makeup.
Worst one was probably I don't know why I dressed up as Charlie Chaplin 1 year. Probably because I was looking for it was a late.
You're flirting with the Hitler line when you do
that.
It was a late. Chaplin. No, it was a late Halloween. I had to find a costume, and of course the costume shop had like a million of the fake mustaches and the
no, you don't understand. I'm Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator.
Yeah.
No, I'm Charlie Chaplin from The Great Dictator. There's layers to this costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you kicking me out of your business?
Why are you calling the police?
Anyway.
Yeah.
My oldest today told me that next year she's decided she wants to go with Spider-Gwen, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's into it. I can't wait for that movie. Into the Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse movie.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be so great.
Yeah. What's the worst costume? Or is Charlie Chaplin your worst?
Charlie Chaplin is the worst costume on my side. Yeah.
Do you have one that you remember?
I mean, most of mine were otherwise. Like I said, I only dressed up when I was a kid. Most of them were like the old school store-bought plastic jumpsuits.
The plastic smock with the cheap plastic mask.
Most of my costumes were that
thin little rubber band.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you don't see those these days.
Yeah.
My worst one was it. You know what? And I forget exactly how old I was, but it was, and I think most kids go through this, where you reach the age where you kind of decide that you're too old for trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still kind of want to go trick-or-treating.
It's kind of like that same transition when you get old enough to, you've decided Santa Claus doesn't exist, but you hedge your bets anyway.
You still want those presents.
Send a letter. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, I had reached that point. I had decided that this year I'm too big to go trick-or-treating. I was probably like, 22, 23.
You mean age-wise, not physically?
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly I could still pass. Put me in a Paw Patrol costume.
Yeah. What did you chase? Sky? Zuma? Who are you?
You know what? Finn's not really into Paw Patrol, so I do not know the names.
Paw Patrol.
I don't know the names of the Paw Patrol characters. I'm sorry. But is Chase the lead?
Chase is like the lead dog.
He's the cop.
He's the pup in charge. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Cop dogs. Forget it.
Damn.
But yeah, I was in that transition phase. Decided I did not want to go trick or treating. I was too old. I was just gonna, do something else. So I had not planned a costume because I was too old. But then, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock rolls around. A couple of my friends show up in costume. Phil, let's go trick or treating. It's like, oh, come on, guys. Really? And they're like, yeah, we're going to go get some candy. It's like, well, crap. What do I do?
Yeah.
What
do you have?
I'm rushing around the house. I ended up just like grabbing a blanket and throwing it around my neck like a cape.
You're one of those irritating teenagers that clearly didn't dress up.
Oh yeah. And then my sister, who was a few years younger than me. I guess she still is a few years younger than me.
That usually doesn't.
I probably because we're family. She's aging at the same rate I am. It's one of those. It's a Theobald thing.
Is that how that works?
Okay. Well, I mean, at least in my family. But she had a costume that involved some makeup. Grease paint, Halloween makeup. So that like stinky ass. Yeah. So I rush into the
Melts off
bathroom.
you, sweat.
Oh yeah. With my blanket cape on, and I grab this makeup and I just start like smearing lines of it. I'll put some black circles under my eyes. Oh, a stripe of red makeup on my cheek. Little grease paint on my forehead. Now I'm a ghost zombie monster.
Sure, why not?
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go get us some candy.
Candy, I guess. And yeah, we run around, and yeah, no, like you said, Greg, clearly the cynical teen.
And then the adults are like, oh, I better give them something or they're going to egg my goddamn house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So they gave me some candy, and then you know what? I keyed their car as I was walking away, just to just that'll learn you. Yep. That'll learn you to be to prejudge me.
Yep.
I wasn't gonna egg your house, but that snotty look you gave me. I did not key any car. That would be terrible. That would be rude.
But you did egg the house.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
No, I've never egged.
No,
and I was such a uptight little good boy.
Don't call being a nice
a decent person.
Being a decent person.
Yeah.
Uptight.
Yeah. No, I never egged a house, never TP'd anyone's house.
Yeah,
I did that, but it was a thing.
None of my friends
for the swim
either.
team.
Yeah.
We did that.
No.
It
was a team building thing?
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, like, my friends, like me and my friends back in like high school, we kind of looked like dirtbags. We looked like kids who would do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was friends with, like, the skater kids and the kids who were in bands and stuff like that. So
Kanye West.
Exactly. So, so we had like the long kind of scraggly hair and just,
I remember having hair,
that sort of thing. And we looked like punks, but we none of us were.
We were nice
young
adults.
But we would still, like, hey, it's middle of the night. Want to just roam around our neighborhoods? So we just like walk. So we'd walk around. It's like midnight, and we're just walking around our neighborhood, just talking and joking and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was
not doing anything.
There was one night when we were out walking around, and we saw this. There was these like two other guys. We passed by two other guys, and there was like 3 or 4 of us. 2 of these guys, and they had like 3 dozen eggs with them.
Oh.
And it's the middle of the night, and it's clear they're up to mischief. They're up to no good, and they kind of walk by us, and because we're just idiots, it's midnight, and we just start screaming at the top of our lungs, "What you got there? Oh, are those eggs?"
And that's how Phil got into his first rumble.
Houses? Are you gonna egg houses
you're a jet all the
with
way.
your eggs that you have at midnight, walking through the suburban neighborhood like a regular teenager does with eggs? And they start, getting very angry and yelling at us to shut up and
these eggs aren't meant for you. They're meant for.
We're on our way to make
house.
We're gonna make a midnight omelet. Shut up.
Here we go.
But yeah, they ran off, and then afterwards, as we're continuing to walk, we just kind of like, that was really stupid of us. I mean, we outnumbered them, but we are all weak and cowardly. That could have gone really wrong really quickly, and we would have had no recourse. So, but yeah. So there's my egging the house story.
Nice.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
We're ready to wrap this thing up.
I think so, because don't we still have an after show to do?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Hey, before we wrap it up, though.
Because CJ's clearly not going to.
Yeah.
He's going to let us sit here in silence for a bit.
This is the last episode before Extra Life. So Extra Life is this Saturday, November 3rd. Starts at 9 a.m. Eastern over on twitch.tv/Sewart. 25 hours straight. We're going to be playing Fortnite to begin with, and then playing Genesis games for the rest of that, because, hey, it's the 30th anniversary of the Mega Drive.
Oh, man.
And and so I'm just over 50% of my goal of $10,000 for the IWK Health Center here in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Nice.
So please consider donating. And I still have like 6 hours left to schedule. And of course, if you donate $50 or more, you get to pick a game that I'm going to play for one of those hours. And also remember, for every $5 you donate, your name goes into a pot to win a PlayStation Classic from this very show.
Nice.
After it's been released in December. So please go donate. Seward.ca. If you just point your URL right there, it'll take you to my Extra Life page, and you can make a tax-deductible donation in either US dollars or Canadian dollars this year. They've actually improved their site a little bit. So
Nice.
please do so.
And you're going to be playing Fortnite?
My son wants to help this year.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
So
Very cool.
He has been telling me for months, like, I want an hour of your stream to play Fortnite, to play something with you. And I said, well, what do you want to play? And he said Fortnite. So wait, cool. We're gonna play Fortnite
That's
together.
Super cool.
Yeah, I was really proud of him, and I'm gonna tear up even saying this. So yeah, he's gotten very become a bit of a philanthropist, and I like to think I had something to do with that. So yeah, he basically went to his grandmother and told her that he wanted to do that, and she said, okay, well, I'll donate the $50.
Wow.
So, I mean, he could have done it without donating anything, obviously.
Right.
But no, he's done that. Like, we do the Terry. You know who Terry Fox is down there, right? Do you guys know who Terry Fox was?
Terry Fox. No.
Terry Fox was
no.
Okay, he was a Canadian who was suffering from cancer.
Okay.
And he decided after he'd been diagnosed and had lost his leg to cancer that he was going to run across Canada.
Okay.
He didn't quite make it. He succumbed to the cancer before he did that, before he made it. But he's quite famous in Canada. He's considered it nationally. You go to our nation's capital, you'll see a statue of him and everything like that.
Oh, nice.
And every year, all across Canada, we do the Terry Fox Run, and the schools really participate in that. So anyway, I'm getting to a point here. Holden, my son, who is quite good at saving his money, because he wants to buy a video game or something like that. He had like $75 saved. So he came home with his Terry Fox donation form that he's supposed to ask people to help with. And he said, Daddy, I want to make a donation to this too. I said, okay, cool. He goes in his room. He gets out a $50 bill.
Oh, jeez.
And he puts it down.
And how old's this kid?
9.
He's 9 now. That's big money for a 9-year-old to be giving up.
Right. Most of his money.
Yeah.
He puts it down. He says, I want to donate this much. And I said, well, buddy, that's a lot of money. Like, are you sure? I mean, it's fine, but are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
He goes, well, he said, I want a new game, but cancer research is more important.
Wow. Look at that.
So, yeah.
Man, look at that.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So anyway, he's been dying to help out all year. He's been talking about it all year. But he wants to help out with the stream. So the first hour is going to be my son and I, and then after that, we're going to be doing Genesis games.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And you know what? I guess since we're kind of on the serious note here, I guess we should talk about talk about this some sad news. We had another colleague of ours from the magazine days has just unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
Jim Cordano.
He's an art director.
Yeah, he was one of the art directors on EGM.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s?
90s and 2000s. He was there when I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not move out to San Francisco when the magazine moved out, but yeah, so he was back in the Chicago suburbs, and we all just kind of got the unfortunate news from some of our former coworkers there back in the Ziff days that he had passed away suddenly.
52 years old.
Yeah, 52. Certainly well before his time.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty shaken by it. Jim was
a great guy.
Just super nice guy. Just
super nice guy.
Really friendly guy. Great to work with. Super talented.
Also introduced a lot of The Office to Phil Hendry and Art Bell.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Phil Hendry, of course, late night radio. He would do like voices and trick people into calling in and disagreeing with him on really stupid topics. And then Art Bell was like a UFO and sort of conspiracy theory. Yeah. So, yeah, I wouldn't have known about either of those were it not for Jim Cordano playing that stuff late at night.
Wasn't it Jim and Cyril who used to play the Pokemon card game like endlessly?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, super sad news. I don't know about you guys. I hadn't really interacted with him in years, but I remember coming in when I started EGM. He was one of the first and friendliest people.
Oh, absolutely.
To say hello. Just an all around great guy. I know there's a picture somewhere. I should find it with I think my very first month there. People who used to subscribe to EGM might remember that there was an extra newsletter that would come.
Oh yeah, it was like it was found in the
was
it the Sushi X Files that they called?
I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
And I believe it was the first month that I started there. There was a picture of Jim and I think in the corner, which with the caption something like the most exciting picture in the history of EGM or something like that. But it was Jim and I sitting in a meeting. So
nice.
Yeah. Anyway. Terrible to hear about it. Super great guy. That's way too young to go. And condolences to his family and the rest of our extended Ziff Davis family.
Yeah,
indeed.
So there we go. We will miss Jim for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And that is our show for this week.
You'd be terrible in radio.
Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find Generation 16 episodes from Mr. Greg Seward.
The new one is done.
Woo! I heard that.
It is done. So I'll be rendering that tonight. Hopefully there's no problems with it. And $3 plus patrons should have access to it tomorrow as of this recording. Yes. And everyone else next Monday.
Cool.
Excellent. You'll also find show notes with links to all the stuff that we talked about during the episode. You'll also find a link to our Discord server. And if you go there, if you download that Discord application, you can chat about all sorts of things, including Red Dead Redemption 2 and this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by booting up the Apple Podcast app. You can also head over to the App Store and drop $1.99.
Cheap.
Pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application. Gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, what have you. You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. Who does this picture Greg is putting up? Oh my God, that's Greg! For you,
somebody in the chat, Sledge in the chat, said they need a picture of me with hair. There's a picture of me with hair.
This is why you tune in. Yep. The photo.
This is what people get from their live. They join us live, and this is what they get.
The file name I can see is Greg90s.
Yep. It's a reference to something that was going around last night with another friend of the show.
What are you wearing in this?
That was my graduation picture.
Okay, it looks like a little. I mean, it's a black and white picture. Mm-hmm. It's Greg.
It's quite handsome. I would like to point out.
This is the first time I've ever seen you with hair, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the cover of some crooner album in the 60s. Frankly,
it looks like a little choir boy outfit or something.
Well, it was a gown. It was a graduation gown.
Okay, and you got
that makes more sense.
Yeah,
but you don't wear a bow tie with a graduation.
Maybe
gown.
You don't.
I don't.
And don't you
and Kanye?
Don't you normally have a collar like over the bow tie? Because you can just see the whole.
No, it's a black and white picture, man. There's a collar over it.
Okay, but I mean,
it's more like a tux. That's how you would have with a tuxedo.
Okay, I don't know. I'm more confused by the outfit.
I love that you guys are just all over the outfit.
Do you also eat burritos from the side? Like, is this a thing? Okay.
Anyway, people in the chat were asking for it, so there it is.
If check out the YouTube archive, folks, if you don't really want to see Greg,
you don't want to miss this.
It's going to pop up when I say cheap.
This should be your Twitter.
Picture. So misleading. From 25 years ago, almost.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh well. You can also head over to the iTunes Apple's application store and invest $1.99
cheap
to pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application. Gives you wait, I did that part already, right? One touch communication. No, did I?
No, you didn't.
It gives you the one touch communication.
Anyway,
by the email. Hey, you know what? It's also
just skip to the end.
You get it at the same $1.99 for
cheap.
Android. Also cheap.
Yeah.
It's on the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. We're on Spotify now.
We are.
Yeah.
For all you
lots of places.
A lot of Spotify fans out there. You can find us there. You can see archives of our show and watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. Hey, and if you like what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. It keeps CJ swimming in inappropriate Halloween costumes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like your Hitler costume from a few years ago. Yeah.
It wasn't what. No, that's not what this is.
I like how you took about half a second to deny it. Yeah,
it's not what this is.
It kind of ended up that way, didn't it?
I guess so.
But yeah, there you go.
I got the coattails and a cane.
Hitler didn't have a cane, did he?
I used some forks and some dinner rolls and made a little dance.
The little dancing buns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Phil. And yes, please go check it out, and please consider supporting the show.
Yeah,
and definitely use the funds for it.
And new episode very soon.
Yes, impending. Yep.
We cannot stop it at this point.
Nope.
Can't be stopped.
Even if you wanted to.
And how could you? I don't know. Christopher.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philip.
For this. Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil.
And thank you, of course, to all of our wonderful listeners. And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.